A quick thanks to Searqle for sponsoring today's video. On Tuesday, July 30th, 1985, at approximately 11 a.m., 8-year-old Nicole Louise Morin left her apartment in Toronto to go swimming. However, she never returned, and no one has heard from her since. The police launched an extensive search using tracking dogs, helicopters, and every available resource, but they were unable to find any clues to explain what happened. What makes this case particularly tragic is that Nicole was one of a series of mysterious disappearances of young girls that year, including 9-year-old Sharon Morningstar Keenan, whose body was discovered inside a refrigerator. All the other missing girls were no more, except for Nicole. This leaves her family still holding on to hope that she might one day be reunited with them, or if something tragic did occur, they would finally learn the truth. Since then, the case has become the largest missing person investigation in Toronto's history. Welcome to Bad Things. As usual, we'll be looking at the timeline, the facts, and the theories to determine what most likely happened to Nicole Morin. But first, let's talk about something important. When it comes to your loved ones, safety, peace of mind is priceless. But how can you really know the people around you? Our partner Searqle is your go-to tool for staying informed and protecting those who matter most. With just a few clicks, you can access detailed criminal records or check if someone is listed as an offender. With Searqle's Offender Search, you can find out if someone nearby has a suspicious background. Just type in a zip code and get a list of offenders in your area, complete with details like name, phone number, address, convictions, and how close they are to you. Whether it's a new neighbor, someone your kids are spending time with, or even a potential date, Searqle gives you the information you need to keep your family safe, all in one place. Want to dig deeper? Searqle's Criminal Records Search uncovers crucial details like court records, charges, and outcomes so you can make informed decisions. Right now, Searqle is offering an exclusive 30% discount on a 1-month subscription. You can access via the link in the description and try for yourself. Stay informed, stay safe, just Searqle it. Now, let's get back to Nicole's story. Nicole was born on April 1st, 1977, to Arthur, Art, and Jeanette Morin. She was a miracle child for the couple, who had been married for 12 years before having her. Nicole was a quiet girl with captivating expressions, wide eyes, and dark brown hair. Despite the ideal image of a small, close-knit family, tensions had developed between Nicole's parents. At the time of Nicole's disappearance, they were separated, though not yet divorced. Nicole lived with Jeanette at 627 the West Mall in Etobicoke, an area consisting mostly of ranch-style bungalows, condos, and apartments scattered around vast stretches of vacant land. Nicole attended Wellsworth Public School, where she was in grade 3. Jeanette ran an in-home daycare business, while Art worked as a truck driver and lived nearby. According to her father, Nicole was not a selfish girl. She was kind and loving. Jeanette had taught her not to talk to strangers, as was common advice for girls her age. But that didn't mean she was shy. On the contrary, Nicole was friendly and cheerful, taking dance lessons and enjoying visits to McDonald's, the circus, and local fairs. She was a girl who wanted to make the most of life. The day of the incident. July 30th, 1985, started like any other day in Toronto, though it was hot and sticky. Nicole began the day in her usual way, never expecting it wouldn't be a typical Tuesday. At 10:30 a.m., she headed downstairs to pick up the mail. After she returned, she put on her bathing suit and prepared for a day of fun at the pool with her friend Jennifer. Since it was summer break, she intended to make the most of her free time. She packed the usual essentials for swimming, including a change of clothes, sunscreen, goggles, and other items. Around 11 a.m., Nicole said goodbye to her mother and walked to the elevator to meet Jennifer. Nowadays, many think that allowing your 8-year-old daughter to hang out with her friend unsupervised wouldn't be safe. However, in the mid-1980s, there weren't the same concerns about children's safety that we have today. Furthermore, Nicole was a confident girl who knew how to handle herself, even knowing how to make long phone calls if anything unexpected happened. Everything seemed fine until Jennifer arrived at Nicole's apartment around 11:15 a.m., just 15 minutes after Nicole left. Jeanette told Jennifer that Nicole had already left. Jennifer didn't take immediate action, possibly thinking there was a misunderstanding between Nicole and her mother, or that Nicole might have met up with another friend. As hours passed without updates, Jeanette grew increasingly worried. She looked around for her daughter, but no one reported seeing Nicole at the pool or anywhere nearby. Finally, Jeanette contacted the police around 3 p.m., according to some reports. Investigation. Police responded quickly, and the investigation began, including active searches throughout the apartment complex. If you've watched other cases on our channel, you may have noticed that sometimes police don't take missing people's cases seriously at first. However, in Nicole's case, it was different. The day after her disappearance, the police organized a large-scale search involving mounted police, marine units, foot patrols, and helicopters. The investigation expanded to include roadblocks around the buildings and circulated vehicles. The police also used cars with PA systems to raise awareness and gather more information. Robert Hershofsky, an investigative journalist, revealed some valuable details in his book, Unsolved: True Canadian Cold Cases. One of the key pieces of information was about a 7th-floor female tenant who had reportedly seen Nicole. It's unclear exactly where she saw Nicole. Some say it was in the hallway, while others claim it was in the elevator. However, Toronto Police Staff Sergeant John Luby, who led the investigation, pointed out that this woman was the last person known to have seen Nicole. As time went on, the case turned into a mystery with numerous twists and turns, including suspicions of child homicides and family connections. If you recall other cases we mentioned at the start of this video, you might understand why this case has taken on such a thrilling tone. Toronto.com reported that the number of cases of child abuse in the Toronto area during the mid-1980s was unusually high. Years have passed, but the case remains open, with no clear answers. No one knows for certain what happened to the innocent 8-year-old girl, or if foul play was not involved, whether she might be living somewhere else in the world. Much has changed over the years, including the permanent separation of her parents in the late 1990s. However, one thing remains the same. Her loved ones continue to wait for her return, especially her father. Art even left his career and established an office dedicated to searching for clues about Nicole, both in Canada and the United States. In 2007, Jeanette passed away from a heart attack without ever learning what happened to her daughter. In 2014, Art shared his feelings, adding new details to the case.
Maybe I'll get a knock on the door. Maybe she'll come in. She'll say, "Here's your grandchildren." I mean, that would be great. It's very possible.
Art believed that something unusual could happen, inspired by the miraculous reunion of his wife with her son from a previous marriage. Her ex-husband had moved to California with their son when he was very young. After 15 years, her son unexpectedly reappeared, saying, "Hi, Mom." Art hoped that one day, Nicole would suddenly return and say, "Hi, Dad." In 2020, a shocking update emerged that stunned the investigators who had been following the case for many years. A woman reported seeing Nicole at a nearby park with a man on the day of the tragic incident. Naturally, investigators questioned why she had come forward after such a long period. She explained that she was only 12 years old at the time and had been too afraid to speak up, as the man had previously abused her. However, this revelation didn't provide any clear answers or lead to an official conclusion. In 2022, City News brought the cold case back into the spotlight, using social media to raise awareness. They shared an edited image of what Nicole might look like as an adult, offering her family a glimpse of the woman she could have become. Detective Sergeant Steve Smith provided a fresh analysis of the case, hoping to shed new light on the mystery.
Her mom had thought that she was downstairs swimming, and her friend downstairs was wondering when she was coming down, so there was a bit of a couple-hour lag.
Smith assured the public that they would bring the case up to 2022 standards and apply the modern techniques now available to them. While we can't say anything for certain, there are several theories about what most likely happened to Nicole Morin. Before we dive into our theories, please feel free to share any of yours in the comments section. Abduction by a neighbor. Many believe that the person responsible was likely someone who lived in the building, someone familiar with Nicole's routine and the layout of the complex. The tragic incident occurred during summer break, a time when children typically played outside for hours without a care. Nicole, in particular, followed a regular routine. What if someone in the building had been observing her and saw an opportunity to target an 8-year-old girl? The police canvassed all 429 units in the apartment complex, but they found no clues. It's important to remember that this took place in the 1980s, long before security cameras were commonly used. While the details remain unclear, one possibility is that Nicole never made it to the lobby. She may have been lured into another apartment on her floor or even trapped on a different floor before being abducted. Abduction by a stranger. Nicole was only 8 years old, and at such a young age, she could easily have been abducted in a very short window of time. What if someone unfamiliar to her entered the building that day and seized the opportunity to commit a crime of opportunity? Nicole had spoken to her friend Jennifer just before 11 a.m. that morning, and the details of their communication vary across reports. Some say they spoke over the intercom, while others suggest they were on the phone. Regardless of the method, it was clear from their exchange that Nicole had told Jennifer she would meet her in the lobby soon. It's possible that the abductor had been listening to Nicole's conversation with Jennifer and waited for her to leave the apartment. At the right moment, the abductor may have struck, ensuring there were no witnesses and taking steps to erase any evidence, making the disappearance completely mysterious. Art's church theory. Art theorized that the person responsible for Nicole's disappearance could have been someone from the fundamentalist church that he was involved with at the time. The couple was living separately, and the church did not support their impending divorce. It's possible that someone within the church, unwilling to see an innocent young girl caught in the middle of this conflict, decided to remove her from the situation. Art also suggested that financial pressures may have played a role in the disappearance. He claimed to be solely responsible for covering all of their expenses and was left with nothing after the divorce. It's conceivable that someone within the church, aware of the ongoing court battles, might have believed that removing Nicole would shield her from the turmoil her parents were facing. Nicole may have been aware of the financial strain her parents were under. Police later found a notebook in which Nicole had written that she was going to disappear. Neighbors also recalled seeing a slender blonde woman holding a notebook in the hallway around the time of Nicole's disappearance. The public remains intrigued by Nicole's choice of words. How did such a young child grasp the concept of disappearance? We believe that Nicole was abducted by someone who lived in the building. This theory is supported by strong evidence and statements we've reviewed, especially when compared to other possible theories. It's hard to believe that the abductor was someone from the church, as investigators looked into individuals there and found no significant leads. Furthermore, any connection between Nicole's words in her notebook and her disappearance was dismissed. After all, children as young as 8 often write things in their diaries without fully understanding their meaning. Additionally, it seems unlikely that Nicole was the victim of a crime of opportunity by a stranger. She wasn't the type of girl anyone could easily trap. In fact, the podcast Persons Unknown revealed that a few days before her disappearance, Nicole and her mother Jeanette had watched a TV program about missing people who lacked the necessary information to contact their families. In response, Jeanette taught Nicole how to react if ever confronted by a stranger. If someone had attempted to abduct her by force, it's likely that someone would have heard her screams. It's therefore highly probable that Nicole was abducted by someone who had been watching her and was familiar with the layout of the building. This individual had been monitoring her closely and had a clear plan. We even suspect that the absence of security cameras on the day of her disappearance was intentional. While it's true that surveillance technology was less common at the time, it's striking that cameras were installed in the building the next day. Detective Smith clarified that the police didn't have the advantage of camera footage when they arrived, and if they had, the investigation might have progressed more quickly, offering a greater chance of a valid conclusion. We also know that Jeanette ran a daycare business, so the abductor may have timed the abduction to coincide with when Jeanette was busiest, preventing her from noticing anything unusual. This was clarified during a news conference streamed on the Toronto Police Service channel.
Thank you.
I just ask, why did it take so long for her parents to call police? You said it was the evening when they called.
Yeah, I mean, her mother, she was preoccupied at the time. She was working out of her home, and she thought that Nicole was fine and that she had probably met up with somebody else at the time. You know, she had other children that she was looking after at that particular moment, and we certainly don't want to criticize her for the time delay. But having said that, it is imperative that when a child goes missing, the sooner that we get notified, the better.
The tragic events continue to spark discussion, particularly on social media. A reenactment video of Nicole's disappearance, shared by Toronto Crime Stoppers on August 26, 2007, was intended to engage the public in the investigation. As expected, it led to various theories, but we agree with this comment that said, "This isn't rocket science, people. Someone in that building abducted her." However, as of 2024, nothing has been officially resolved. The case remains one of the largest investigations in Toronto's history. Nicole's father still lives in the Etobicoke area, holding on to hope that his daughter will one day return. Imagine the emotional impact of a positive DNA result and the possibility of a reunion between father and daughter. What do you think of this analysis? Did we miss anything? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.